keep our mouths quiet. You see, here's the thing. When we start saying something that God's not saying, we fall into witchcraft. We start doing what the devil's doing. We take on we put the little horns on and a pitchfork, and we start walking around going, hee hee hee, and start poking people. Wagging our little tail. And then we wonder why when we're praying, God's like, dude, what are you doing? Anyway. So time goes on. Elizabeth has a baby. 8 days past the baby. Zechariah still can't talk. Zipped his lip, man. Well, that would just be... Some of you, I wish God would zip your lip. No, I'm just... Don't look at your watch.
She's looking at me.
I can see.
She's looking at me.
8 days, had the baby, 8 days have gone by. The custom and tradition was after 8 days they did the circumcision, and at the circumcision they would name the child. That's why when we do baptism is a form of circumcision. That's why part of what we say when we baptize you is in Jesus' name, because we take on the name of Christ. We become named with Him. We have His name. He scratches out your past name. He scratches out all those little things that people said about you, and he scratches it out, and He puts His name in place of all the categories and all the things that people say about you. He names you with Him, and that way it's like you got a new credit card, because your credit card kept going decline, but all of a sudden you got Papa Daddy's credit card, and all of a sudden you swipe it and healing comes, and you swipe it and joy comes, and you swipe it and happiness, because all of a sudden there's somebody else's, or you hear this person's name on the card. So they go to name this child, and they're trying to figure out what they're going to name him, and everybody's there, and they say his mother answered. Verse 59, Luke chapter 1, verse 59. So it's on the 8th day they came to circumcise the child, and they would have called him by the name of his father, Zacharias. His mother answered and said, no, he shall be called John. They said to her, listen to this, they said to her, but there's not any of your relatives who's called by this name. So they made a sign, the sign language to Daddy, and he said, what would you call him? And he asked for something to write on. He said, his name is John. They all marveled, and immediately he could talk. See, when you start saying what God's saying, then He gives you something to say. Amen. But I want to hang out right here on this little spot. There was nobody else in his family called by that name. What do you mean you're going to call him the president? No one else in your family is a president. What do you mean you're going to call your children successful? Nobody else in your family is successful. What do you mean you're going to call your children, like you're going to say that they're not going to be hooked on something? Everybody in your family that you know is hooked on something. You see what I'm saying? What do you mean? How dare you to say your kids are gonna be rich when you've always been poor? How dare you to say that your kids could sing? How dare you to say that your kids could praise the Lord? How dare you to say that your kids could be a preacher? How dare you to say that your kids could be a missionary? Because nobody else in your family is that way. Let me tell you something. God is stepping us into a new realm. He's getting us out of the old way of thinking about things, and He's putting in us a new way of thinking. He's going to start saying things over your family that has never been said before. He's going to start prophesying things over your family that have never been prophesied before. He's going to start using your kids and your grandkids to do things that you're going to be marveled. You're going to be, whoa, I can't believe that's it. And I tell you, that's what's happening in my house. I look at Alex and I'm like, my God, what is going on? How did he learn to do that? It's because it's not because of me, trust me. It's because God has said, you know what, Gary, you begin to speak something over him. And so now God is going to begin to do what He said. Here's the other thing. I can't wait for Ryan Birkenstein to show up and show off. Because let me tell you something, that little guy is a prayer warrior. That guy has an integrity down from his head to his feet. I would not be shocked. It would not baffle me at all if he was one of the smallest NFL players known to man. But he was standing on television telling everybody, my God reigns. My God, and I'll be going, I don't know how he can play football. Look at me. But here's the thing. It's not about me. It's about Him. It's about He who sent me. Oh my goodness.
Come on.
Nobody else in our family's like that. You know, isn't that funny how we do that? We'll look at a kid, well, who does he look like? We'll see a talented kid. Where do you get that from? People ask me all the time, well, I used to play drums. They'll say, well, is that why Alex can play the drums? It's really not. Because he's a much better drummer than me. There's really nothing to do with it. They'll look at, how come this and how come that? I don't know. Here's what I want to happen. I want you to look at your kids and be baffled. And be like, wow, where did they learn to do that? How is this happening? So begin to look at yourself and say, man, look what I've accomplished. I'm not talking about making your bank account full. I'm talking about what you've accomplished for the kingdom of heaven, that you know it's not you. See, that's stepping into that marvelous life when you're like, whoa, God, it's got to be you. You begin to sing His praises and His glory. Say, God, it's all about you. All about you. Well, I got so many notes up here, it's just insane. Let me give you some names real quick from the Bible. Daniel in the lion's den. Daniel, when he was actually a slave when he was put in the lion's den. And when he was a slave, he was renamed. His captives renamed him. Now, the interesting thing is probably 99% of the time in the Bible, you never see that he used the name that they gave him. The name they gave him is Belshazzar. That's the name they gave him. But the book he wrote, the book of Daniel, he didn't call himself that. What do you call yourself? What people call you? Do you say over yourself what people say, or do you say what God said? Because, see, Daniel knew that there was something bigger about his name. He didn't know that there was coming a day when it was going to be lined up where he was right or he was wrong. Don't you love it when God just justifies you and gives you the big clanging bell and go, yeah, you can do this because you were right. You know how it is, you get wrong, someone lies about you and cheats about you, and you wish that somehow God would show up. That's exactly what happened to Daniel. You know Daniel's story, he was praying 3 times a day. Somebody snuck around, didn't like him, and said, man, we're going to take this dude down. So they got a law passed, and the law was decreed by the king that if anybody was praying to any other god, they would be put in the lion's den. So Daniel's like, well, dude, this is what I do. It's convenient they made a law just for me, but I'm not going to be, I'm not going to do what the law says. I'm going to do what God's put in my heart. So he keeps praying. Sure enough, here they come knocking on the door. Hey, buddy, the kitties are hungry. It's time for you to go. So they scoop him up and they throw him in the lion's den. Now, before, we talk about this a lot here, I talk about this all the time. Before you go in the lion's den, it's a pretty scary situation. After the lion's den, anybody can shout. There's things in your life right now that's going on that you're right before you're going to go in the lion's den. Let me tell you something. Shout now. Shout now. Begin to speak it now. Begin to claim what God could do. When you lose your job, don't be like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I lost my job. Oh, snot bubbles. Don't do that. Look at it this way. God's just getting you ready for a better job. See, that's what God, because the Word hasn't changed. Just because you lost your job, the Word didn't change. He still says, I'm going to provide for you. He still says, I'm going to work out everything. The Word didn't change at all. So you might as well start saying what God. Don't say, well, I'm never going to get a job. Don't say that. Come on. When you go to the doctor, I did a blood test this week for life insurance. It's just killing me, man. All my great preaching about living on popcorn and jelly beans and Dr. Pepper is seems to be catching up with me. Oh, I feel good, but the blood work is just not looking right. But I gotta start because they're like, dude, you're gonna die. If I told you my numbers, you'd be like, oh my gosh. Anyway, I want to change. I'm going to change a little bit what I'm eating. I'm talking about getting a bicycle, start working out a little bit. I want to buff it up a little. I'm not going to be afraid that I'm going to die. And I'm sure not going to start speaking that over myself. God didn't just have us start a church a year ago for us to have a funeral next week because I ate too many jelly beans. That's not the plan. So that's not what God's saying. So I got to start speaking what God's saying, right? And when things happen in your life, when you're fixing to get chunked into the lion's den, go ahead and pray anyway. Go ahead and shout anyway. Because you could actually come out of the lion's den and they could be talking about your story 2,000 years later.
Right on.
See, Daniel didn't call himself what they called him. Because his name, Daniel, this is what it means. God will decide. Go ahead, throw me in the lion's den. Call me Belshazzar all you want to. That ain't my name. Belshazzar, that's crazy. That's crazy. I need a rap man with that name. You calling me that? My name's Daniel. You throw me in there and God's going to decide. God, the other part of that says God will be my judge. It's not for you to decide whether I'm right or wrong, because God says He will decide what's right and wrong in my life. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Funny thing, Daniel, when he writes about them, he calls them Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That's not their names. That's their prison names. That's the name that the slave master gave them. Shadrach's real name, I can't pronounce this, is Hanai. I don't know. Do you know what that means? Now picture this, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, just in case you don't know, are the guys that got thrown in the fiery furnace. They're the guys that when they built a big statue and they played the music, everybody's supposed to bow down and worship him, they're the ones going, what? What y'all doing? We ain't bowing to that. That ain't God. I don't know, it's a big fancy statue, but he ain't done nothing for me. And they wouldn't bow down, so they took it before the king and said, all right, dude, you must have missed the memo. Y'all three right there, y'all got to get this right. We're going to play the music again. We're going to give you another shot, Carol. You're blowing it, okay? We're going to help y'all. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, we're going to help y'all. Okay, because we don't want to throw you in the fiery furnace, but we'll microwave you in a minute. We don't even care. That's the way we do this thing right here, okay? So when you hear that music, maybe you check your ears, get some Q-tips, what do you got to do? Make sure that you're hearing it. It's going to be really loud. And even if you don't hear it, when you see everybody else fall down, when you see everybody else doing something, you probably ought to do it too. They said, you know what? We don't even care about your fiery furnace. We don't care about your king. We don't care about your God. Even if our God doesn't save us. Because see, they knew God wasn't going to kill them in no fire. They knew there was something bigger in their life than this. They knew that there was purpose and calling. God didn't just stick me out here as a slave to, barbecue me. That wasn't the plan. So he said, even if he doesn't save us, we're still not going to bow to that thing. All right, well, what are you crazy with? We're going to do it again. So they get them all, they get everybody out there. Everybody's like, oh, we got to do it all over again because these crazy nut jobs. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Daniel's even writing their names down. Shadrach, it's not even their name. I'm going to tell you their names in a minute. It's going to blow your mind. You see, it's important what your name is. It's important what you say about yourself. It's important because what God is saying has got to be what you say. What He speaks over you has got to be what you speak over you. What He says, you got to start saying it. Because if you start saying it, you'll start believing it. And if you start believing it, you'll start doing it. Yeah. That's good stuff. I don't care if you mix it up. Shadrach's name, Hanai, means Jehovah has favored. The other translation is Jehovah has bowed down. Or you could say Jehovah has come to where you are.